The sound of gentle waves crashing into the shore was the only thing that accompanied Clara's footsteps as she strolled along the beach. The sky above was a canvas of vibrant orange and fiery red hues, signaling the imminent arrival of sunset. The salty breeze tugged playfully at her hair, carrying with it the distant cries of seagulls. The thought of him still brought a smile to her face, a smile that now seemed like a distant memory, a relic of a time when joy was a regular visitor. It was the feeling that had become her constant companion since his disappearance, a feeling of dread that something terrible had happened to him. Each passing day, the hope that had flickered within her dimmed a little more, replaced by a growing fear. He had left that morning with a smile, promising to bring home her favorite flowers, the ones with the velvety petals and the scent that lingered in the air long after they were picked, and then he had vanished. No flowers, no explanation, no goodbye. Friends and neighbors offered their condolences, their words kind but empty, their smiles strained. They did not know what to say, what to do, how to fill the gaping hole in Clara's life. Even the sun seemed to weep, shedding tears of golden light upon the cold, desolate house. She remembered his infectious laughter, the way his eyes crinkled at the corners when he smiled, the warmth of his hand in hers. In these dreams, he was always there, just out of reach, his voice calling to her, his face smiling at her, his touch teasing her. And then he would slip through her fingers like sand, leaving her alone in the suffocating darkness. But now her canvases were filled with shades of gray, with images of a stormy sea and a dark, empty shore. Her art, once her passion, now mirrored the turmoil in her soul. They had searched the coast, questioned those who had seen him last, even delved into the murky depths of his past, looking for clues, for motives. They gave her a taste of what it was like to be whole, to feel loved, to have hope, only to snatch it all away in the cold grip of dawn. Thanks for watching. In these dreams, he was alive. In her waking hours, all she had were memories, memories that both sustained her and broke her. The wind, which had been her constant companion in her grief, suddenly picked up, whipping strands of her hair across her face, carrying with it the scent of the sea, and something else, something that made her heart skip a beat, something that stirred within her a flicker of hope. But the deeper they delved, the more enigmatic his disappearance became. The sound of gentle waves crashing into the shore was the only thing that accompanied Clara's footsteps as she strolled along the beach. The sky above was a canvas of vibrant orange and fiery red hues, signaling the imminent arrival of sunset. The salty breeze tugged playfully at her hair, carrying with it the distant cries of seagulls. It was a scene of tranquility, a moment of peace that one might think would be cherished by anyone. But for Clara, this idyllic setting was a torment, each wave whispering a painful truth she desperately tried to ignore. Every morning she would wake up before the sun, her heart heavy with a mixture of grief and determination. She would dress in black, for what else was there to dress for? The therapist spoke of moving on, of accepting the pain, of letting go. But how could Clara do any of those things when her world had been turned upside down, when the very fabric of her reality had been torn apart? And she would walk to the sea, drawn by an invisible force, compelled by a desperate need to find him, to feel his presence, to hear his voice. There were no signs of foul play, no evidence of a struggle, no witnesses. It was as if he had evaporated into thin air, leaving behind a life half-lived and a love story unfinished. These memories were both a blessing and a curse, a constant ache in the void where he used to be. It was a scene of tranquility, a moment of peace that one might think would be cherished by anyone. But for Clara, this idyllic setting was a torment, each wave whispering a painful truth she desperately tried to ignore. Why had he been taken? What had he done to deserve this? And why had he been taken from her? With each passing day, though, the anger subsided, replaced by a bone-deep weariness, fatigue that seeped into her bones and clouded her mind. Her gaze was fixed on the rippling waves, her mind a turbulent sea of confusion and despair. For 3 weeks now, she had been coming to this very spot, hoping against hope that he would appear. Every day she would sit here for hours, talking to the waves, sharing her hopes, fears, and dreams, as if the sea itself could understand her anguish. And every day the sea remained silent, offering no solace, no answers. Just the rhythmic crash of waves against the shore, a mocking reminder of her solitude. Or had someone else been responsible, someone with ill intent who had caused him harm, who had taken him away from her, from the life they had built together? These thoughts were like vultures, circling and diving, tearing at her sanity. He'd been gone for 3 weeks, vanished without a trace, leaving behind nothing but unanswered questions and a hollow ache in Clara's heart. As the sun began its slow descent towards the horizon, painting the sky in hues of purple and gray, Clara felt a familiar tightness in her chest. Had the sea claimed him? Had the vast expanse of water swallowed him whole, leaving behind no trace, no wreckage, no sign of the struggle? She remembered the day he disappeared. It was a day like any other, filled with the mundane tasks that made up their daily routine. The police had done their investigation, or so they said. Days turned into weeks, each one bringing with it a fresh wave of despair. And yet through it all, Clara refused to give up hope. At first her days were filled with anger, a searing, all-consuming anger at the world, at God, at him. She began seeing a therapist, a kind woman with eyes that held both understanding and pity. And then there were the dreams. Night after night, Clara was visited by dreams of him. These dreams were a torment, a cruel joke played by fate. Clara had always been a painter, finding solace and expression in the vibrant colors and endless possibilities of her art. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of morning, Clara found herself sitting on the porch of her house, her gaze fixed on the restless sea. Was that him? Could it be? Her fingers trembled as she reached out to steady herself. End of part 2. Hope you enjoyed the story so far. Make sure to stay tuned for part 3 and let me know your thoughts in the comments.